It's George Whittam for Whittam's World NAMM 2017, and I always love trying to find acoustical makers, and I found GIK Acoustics here at the show. It's a busy, noisy spot in the show, but I think we can get a pretty good recording here. How you doing, Glenn?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. How about yourself?
Doing fantastic. A little tired, but hanging in there.
Yeah, me too. Very tired. It's been we're only on day 2, and I feel exhausted already. We still have 2 more days to go.
It's noise fatigue.
It really is. It really is.
So I'm quite familiar with acoustics, and a lot of my followers watch me, and I talk a lot about acoustics. So in small booths, we have major acoustical issues. So how do we deal with that?
So in a small room, some of the major problems is that the vocal range can still get down to like 80 hertz, and what generally will happen is as you're talking, the sound is going to hit the near sidewall. It's going to come back. It's going to go over top of the microphone. So you're going to get a lot of comb filtering going on inside the room. So what we want to try to do is use as thick as a absorber as possible. So we're absorbing as low as we possibly can, and then throughout the whole frequency range. So a lot of times what we'll do is we'll use a panel like this, which is our 244 panel. It's 5.5 inches thick, and we'll cover as much of the area as possible. As the room gets, a little bit bigger, like maybe over 5 feet or something like that, we still want to absorb everything from 500 hertz and down, but we still want to retain a little bit of the upper frequencies so the room doesn't sound overly dampened. You want it to be dampened, but not overly dampened. So you can start to use something like this, where it's going to still absorb below 500 hertz, but then above 500 hertz, it's going to start to scatter out the sound. And it really depends on the room, and most of it has to do with how close that the microphone is to the wall. So generally what I tell customers in a small booth area is if you're about 3 feet from the wall, then you can start to use something like this inside of the room. But it's always best to use as thick of a absorber as you possibly can.
So in a very small booth, diffusion scattering doesn't work quite as well. So in like a 4x6 or 3x5 or smaller, you really want to do all absorption?
Yeah, generally yes, or if you're going to use something like this, keep those panels absolutely as far from you as possible. Sometimes though, what you can use is something like this if you're not in the booth itself, which is really great because it can take away some of the sound inside of the room. So like you'll probably be able to hear this hopefully with everything going on. But as I get in here, it starts to get kind of quiet inside of the room versus outside of the room.
So in a small booth, one good-sized bass trap like that for a voiceover would probably be enough, do you think?
Probably not. I mean, it would be, you probably want to get 2, but you're going to want to keep them as close to you as possible. Ideally, you'd want to cover at least where the sidewall is next to you, so on both sides, behind you, and then the ceiling. And that's one, especially the ceiling, and that's one area that people always forget is on the ceiling, because the sound's coming off the ceiling just as much as coming off the sidewall.
If the microphone is right here, it's a foot or less from the ceiling.
Right, you're going to get a lot of that sound. You're going to get a ton of that sound coming right back on you, So I'll generally tell a client to start with maybe 2 to 3 panels, and then you just keep adding onto that as time goes on.
Well, where do we find your product, and do you guys do direct sales, or do you sell through a vendor?
So all of our sales are direct through our website, gikacoustics.com. And if you ever need any help, you can always email us. We're more than happy to take pictures of the room from you. We can look at the room. We can then recommend what the best products are. Not every room is going to be the same, so we always like customers to send us pictures so we can work with them.
Well, I really appreciate it, man. Sorry it's so noisy, but I wanted to make sure we got to talk to you.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for stopping by our booth. I really appreciate it.
Well, that's 2017 NAMM. I think that's a wrap. If you guys want to see any more, Whittam's World, facebook.com/Whittam's World. Keep looking out. We appreciate you watching.